maybe that's all that's left. And recklessly recoiling, but now's not the time. My heart is shining bright tonight. You better go out and fight your fight. You better go out and fight your fight. Counting and recounting all the memories of me. Am I her, is she me, or something in between? Living and walking as the recklessly recoiling, but now's not the time. My heart is shining bright tonight. You better go out and fight your fight. Recklessly recoiling, but now is not the time. No, it's not. My heart is shining bright tonight. You better go out and fight your fight. You better go out and fight your fight. You better go out and fight your fight.
Oh, love that. Your heart's shining bright tonight.
Yeah, it is. It is. I try to keep it shining every night, but tonight especially.
Mm-hmm. Some nights are easier than others.
Yeah, for sure. This is an older one. I wrote it in Hawaii during my little hiatus, mind you. This was like the little break of momentum that I needed to have to keep going with it, I guess. But yeah, it's called Simplicity. Walking through the days, feeling misplaced. Is it my sense of wonder, that everlasting hunger? Walking through the distance, feeling your resistance, feeling a feeling. Is this just my illusion that leads me to this conclusion? Yeah. I can't believe that all that lies is simplicity. Na 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 na. No song. Dun 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 dun. Been so way. Dun 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 dun. Ba so way. Ba da 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 ba da da so way. Dun 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 so the line. Dun da 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 so da dun da 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 so da ba so da so da da dun dun. Ma lu da la. Dun da so da sa dun da dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Ah, dun dun dun.
Working up a thirst, huh?
Yeah, basically, I don't know if anyone sings here, but you gotta keep it hydrated if you want to keep
Oh,
going.
definitely.
I feel like even poets know that, right? Like it all comes
I
down
hope
to
we do.
the strength of your voice, and also sometimes the lack of strength of your voice is art in itself, you know?
Right, right. Which can lead to some interesting effects. But we prefer to be hydrated.
We prefer to take care of ourselves to make sure we are nourished, happy, and well.
Indeed we do. And on that note, do you have it in you for one more for now, or
Oh, I could
you
go
want to take a
forever.
break? You could. Okay, well, how about one more and then we take a little break and have a little chat?
All right, I love it. What should I do? Let's see. I guess what I would maybe I'll do with grace. I think that you guys will understand where I'm coming from. This one I wrote during quarantine. Um, so a little background. I went to school in Long Island. I studied with a vocal jazz teacher, and that was the best part. But everything else about the education really just like went dry for me, and I was spending so much money to have a dry education, so that I decided to kind of move away, move off the grid in Maui, Hawaii, and I spent 5 years out there, like as a young person. I think I went out there when I was 18 or 19. I came back in my mid 20s, and what a crazy time to be a young person and living a retired life. Like, didn't make very much sense now to me, I guess. But so I went there. I came back, and I came back because I really needed to stop running from my fear, my initial fear, which is like, am I good enough? Is this what I want to be doing? Is is this the thing that I need to be doing? Is this my highest good? If I do this music thing, is this my highest good? And I came to the conclusion just but from doing it more because I had taken a long break. I had been in the garden with my hands in the dirt, and I gave a lot of my energy to the land and not to the music. And essentially I moved back, and I boosted myself up. I networked. I did everything that was super awkward for a person that was off the grid in isolation for a while. I learned how to do it. And I came back and I was just about to hit it. I had gained the confidence to go out and to perform and to just hit it. And quarantine happened.
Hmm.
After like, I don't know, like over like 6 years, 7 years of, pent up energy about it, quarantine happened. So here's a little song about that. About that experience. Right, with grace. I know that we can go there. I can't swear that we belong. In the motions of these troubling times, I know I can't freak out. I know that we go sweetly. I swear that we don't even try. I came just a little too far for this. For delight the sun died. Ooh, yeah. That delight the sun died. And I can't believe that it's happening through these potent times of hope and shame. And I know that we may fall, but I can't believe that it will come to this. The light, the sun, da do 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 do. Bottled up, reaching out, hoping for forgiveness. Hoping for a much simpler time to shine. Hoping for, searching for just a glimmer of light. Knowing how rust a ray will fuel. Revelation. But no, I'm afraid of what is next. Through temptation, you can leave from all this mess. So, how can we escape from here? And how can we refrain from this? And how can we walk away from all that we have built with grace?
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. How beautiful.
Thank you.
You seem to have handled it with a lot of grace, and thank you for sharing a bit of your story along with the music.
Yeah, of course. Of course. That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about Hawaii and you were working for an environmental organization or just a farm, or you had your hands in the dirt, you said.
I was just a being of this planet, just going from place to place, learning from a lot of different people, learning what not to do, learning what to do. People that, it's an interesting place, Hawaii. It's quite spiritual, and you'll find
Mm-hmm.
a lot of interesting characters. Sorry about the siren in the background.
That will happen.
Um, it's
A lot of
just
interesting characters in Hawaii,
yeah,
huh?
just a lot of
Like, I'm
interesting
sure because
characters.
it's so beautiful that all these beautiful people are drawn to it, right?
Oh yeah, I
I've
mean,
never been.
you've never been? I
No.
mean, I highly recommend it, but I also recommend not staying because I do find that the tourism industry is really heavily affecting the natives that are there.
Mm-hmm.
They've quite literally taken their lands, their plants, their trees, their orchards, their community, like it's been ripped away, essentially. And I mean, so I lived there for 5 years, and I knew that, like I knew it when I was there, but I had moved like 15 times in 5 years. It's a very transient place, so you're very easily replaceable. And I was going in as a woofer, as a caretaker of like different places, and essentially like I moved around so many times that I the last time I had a dog and a
Mm-hmm.
cat, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like just kind of let someone maybe that is from here take up the space that I am looking for. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
that was my intention with it. And I hope it happened. Am I hopeful? No, but I. That's why I kind of say that when people are like go visit Hawaii. I've never been. I'm like visit, give money to the culture, pay respect, get out of the way of the people that have been there for a long time,
Yep.
and and enjoy it and be respectful. Don't litter, don't put sunscreen on when you go into the reefs. Like it's a very
Right.
sacred place, and it was hard to watch it shift in the 5 years that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine what people have done for
Mm-hmm.
like if they've been there for 20 their slash their whole life. Like it's been detrimental to their culture, to the environment, to a lot. So
Wow. Well, that shows a real sensitivity for, you called yourself when we were talking earlier, a young person. You were a young person when you went out to Hawaii.
yeah,
And how old
I was
were
a
you? What year
baby.
was it?
When was that? I think it was like 2013. I don't know. Dates are not my forte. Time is strange to me. I
No worries, no worries.
think I was 19. I am now 28.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
um, so you're so you were just beginning to make this decision to come back and make music your life's work, and COVID hit, and that must have felt like just such a punch in the gut. And how do you get, like, you talk about your music as a healing medium, like, is that like how you worked through it with your music? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it was totally like it felt like a joke from the universe. I was like, really?
Mm,
Like, is this is this really what I have to go through right now? Like after it took so much courage for me to move away from like what everyone thought was paradise, and it took a lot. Like
right.
and so when I finally like, and it took 3 years of being in New York for me to get there, or 2 years of being in New York for me to finally build up that confidence.
Mm,
And essentially, like yeah, it was a huge. It felt like a kick. Like it really was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to do this, and it hit me pretty hard, because I take signs from the universe pretty seriously, and
right.
I'm a little, like everything happens for a reason. And I was like, okay, I guess I have some more inner work that I have to do by myself. I thought I had done enough of that. No, no, I didn't. There's
No.
always more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh, maybe the siren's stopping. That would be good.
Do you, is there a siren?
Well, we heard a lot of background noise. I don't know if it was on your end or not, but
I hear it. It might be, I don't know if it's on my end, but let me know.
it just went down a lot though.
Unmute. Hello?
Okay, there you go. Okay, that cleared the interference, whatever that was,
All
is
right, good. We want some clear, crisp.
we do. It was pretty screechy for a minute there. Sorry, everybody. Your ears must be ringing, but you know, sometimes we need to wake up a little.
Thought it was a cicada invasion. That's hilarious. I love
Oh,
it.
that's right. Yeah, it did sound like a cicada invasion. Speaking of environmental issues, uh,
Oh man.
after the apocalypse, the cicadas will be here. They'll still be here. Sarah, so how else did COVID maybe change you if it did? Like, were you involved, for instance, in this recent kerfuffle with the musicians protesting, like by getting off Spotify because of the Joe Rogan podcast, like Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and all those people?
Um, I have a very like non-biased opinion about it. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but I also feel like it's hard as an up and coming artist to kind of set barriers and boundaries for yourself
Mhm.
in that way.
Right,
Like I'm trying to be discovered, whereas those people have been discovered and they can do what they want. And
right.
so I
Yep.
power to them, do what you feel always. I in particular, like I will likely put my music on Spotify and I use Spotify every day. It is something that connects me with my community.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
that being said, I am open to other suggestions and other community oriented like uh, streaming platforms that are like accessible to everyone because that's like kind of why I gravitate towards Spotify is like I can send this to my friend, I can send this, I can email over here, like everyone's connected for me
Mhm.
in particular.
Mhm.
Um
Well, that brings up another question I have, which is I feel like you're really adept at social media and you do it in this very, very beautiful, like unaffected, not self-effacing, but not like self-promotion, which I think a lot of people get hung up on is like, well, am I posting too much, too little? And you seem to have a very natural gift for just sort of, you know, sharing. It feels like you're just sharing a side of your personal life with the world, which is a beautiful thing. What's your take on that? Do you?
you know, I'm just kind of it's a loaded question because it comes down to ego and like how you feel about yourself and what you want to show to people and how that's being perceived and then like freaking out about all of those aspects and so it took like so like I said I came back I want to say I think it's like 4 or 5 years ago
Mhm.
to New Paltz upstate and
Okay,
I was still gardening
right?
and you know in New Paltz they've got a pretty young scene of college kids
Yes.
and everyone's doing music and everyone's very creative. So I took it as kind of a free classroom to see what the young kids were doing. You know, I feel ridiculous saying that, but like I was retired off the grid in Hawaii, didn't have internet most of the time. Like I was very removed from social media. Like
Mhm, mhm.
I didn't have the accessibility to post and to even stream. Like I had limited bandwidth. Like
Literally. Yeah.
really limited bandwidth. And so when I came back, I was just kind of like watching and I was like, oh, I like it when people do that. That was really genuine. Or like, oh, I didn't really like how that came off. Like maybe I shouldn't do that. It might, you know, and when it came down to at the end was that you have to be your most genuine and authentic self and have self-love behind it and acceptance. Because when you post it, something happens. something happens to your body where you're like, wait, excuse me, are people gonna like this?
Right.
Like you didn't think about it before you hit post, but then like, and then you think about deleting it, and then you think about all these things, and so it just comes to accepting who you are, loving yourself, and being true and genuine behind the camera, which definitely takes practice. Like I've been like really privileged like during COVID to connect with people through the internet. And that was definitely helpful for me because like I said, I didn't have an internet. Oh, that's actually, I'm like having a light bulb moment right now.
Oh.
But yeah, I think because I was forced into socialization from afar, it forced everyone else to do that.
Mm.
And I think that we all kind of met each other in a similar place,
Mhm, mhm.
which was really cool, because I felt so removed and like awkward and strange. And I was like, wait, now everyone's isolated and alone and by themselves, and and like we're all forced to do like media stuff. Like, so I
We
think
all became avatars of our own persons or um,
I basically I just pay attention and I do what feels right, and that when I because I used to really like be hard on myself, like, oh, I have to like put on this persona and like that's gonna gather these people's attention and I'm gonna have to do this over here and like, and that's not real, like that's not who you are.
right,
Like,
right.
and so yeah, just basically being genuine yourself and letting the people on the other end discover you. It's not gonna be everyone, and that's fine. That's fine. You okay with that?
Mm. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I guess like for me, I have a real love-hate relationship with social media. I do love, making those real connections with people. It involves writing, which is what I do as a writer. It involves, sometimes putting together writing with, a beautiful photo, which is fine. I guess I have limited time, and it always feels like one more thing I need to do, you know? And if I come at it with that mindset of one more thing to do, then that doesn't make for a very good post. But if I come at it with the mindset, of really, I want to connect. Right now is when I want to socialize. Right now is my time to be with my community. Then it makes a big difference.
And also not putting so much weight on it. Like even just hearing you talk about like that post, like it's not that serious. Like just post it, it's fine. You know what I mean though? Like because I
Yeah,
went through that too. And it's just get it out there. It's out there. It's whatever. No worries. Unless you're saying something super hateful and hurtful to someone, I don't think that you have anything to necessarily worry about.
right. Yeah. I mean, and I also have a lot of like concerns about the data being, mined and the people running these companies. I call the Billionaires Boys Club. I, you know, I have some political problems with it too, but it seems to be a necessary like thing for performers and especially I think for performers to help kind of get the word out about what they're doing and they're doing the good things they're doing. So I have, like I say, really kind of a love hate and
All about balance, right?
probably, well, yeah. And yeah, I was going to say, like, well, how about your work life balance? Like, what does that look like for you?
So like I said, I've been a gardener for, oh my God,
Hmm.
I'm like over a decade at this point. Like a real gardener. I kind of came in blind and then now I'm like,
I need your help.
oh,
I
for sure. Yeah, we can talk
have a
about
black
that.
thumb.
Absolutely. But yeah, I kind of just picked it up naturally as a caretaker, like woofer, like kind of just graduating up and up in Hawaii. And then when I moved back, because I didn't graduate from college, I didn't have a degree behind me. I kind of
Mhm.
had to fall on that as a profession. So I was bouncing back from like my parents in some places when we had moved back, and I found a job up in New Paltz as a gardener, and I I kind of did that for a long time, like as a full, and I've never been a full-time gardener until I moved to New York. It's very like, ooh, like let me get a sundress on and I'm in my bare feet in Hawaii and it's all good. And then you come to New York and there's poison ivy, you better have your boots on and your gloves and like there's snakes. There's no snakes in Hawaii.
Oh, wow. It really is paradise.
It is. So I came back and I was working this very demanding job on my body, like 8 to 10 hours a day, as a crew leader for a garden for all sorts of gardens all over the Hudson Valley. And I would come back, especially in the summer, I was particularly exhausted, like another kind of exhausted that I hadn't experienced before, which didn't leave too much time for me to pick up my instrument and sing at the end of the night. It left me enough time to maybe get some food into my body,
Yep.
lay down.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that for a couple of years really got to me. It really did. Like I kept like having all these excuses like, oh, like how's your music doing? How's it go? Work is in my way. And I really like it took me a long time to be like, I can't garden for my job anymore. Like it's taking away from my craft, my writing, my energy, like everything that I could be putting into this. I'm not. I'm putting it into wealthy people's gardens in the Hudson Valley. And it wore on me, you know. And so essentially I moved away from that and I started joining my other friend's company, and then I've been helping her build it, and then I kind of came to the same conclusion, like I can't be in the field, like this doesn't work. So I decided to move to Brooklyn to like kind of go into the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing like I'm office managing for her company now, from right here where you see me.
All right. Good.
And so that is like luckily what pays the bills, which allows me to like have the energy at the end of the day to sit down, record, to send emails, to do all of the things that it requires. Because man, am I learning? It requires 1,000 things. And so essentially I have a job where it's less demanding, that pays for my bills, which gives me the space and time to focus on recording at this point, like I think 17 to 20 songs that need, like it's an overwhelmingly amount of music, which
wow.
I'd be really happy about it, but it's just overwhelming.
Wow. Well, first of all, congrats on making that really good move, or series of moves to get you in a place where you can even contemplate like compiling an album or two.
Right.
That's brilliant. I love that you figured that out for yourself, because I do try to garden and it is grueling. And it's also, I feel like it's also like another craft, another art. Like it takes so much of creative energy that, like certain jobs don't take a lot of creative energy. Like data entry really doesn't take a lot of creative energy. And hopefully what you're doing now saves some of that energy, at the end of the day for you.
And I have a flexible schedule. Like I can work whenever I want. Like,
yeah. And work from home is one of the great things that COVID did, right? Like I was already working from home, doing web development for my, for my bill paying job. And when COVID happened and everyone else began doing the same, I was just so happy for the world also, because like, remember like how the pollution dropped like so fast after shutdown.
And dolphins in Venice. It was crazy. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great. And so you've got 17.
I don't know. I lost count.
So that's like what in my day we would call a double album. Is there such a thing as a double album anymore?
I don't know. See, like I'm learning myself. Like I think that the music industry is shifting tremendously because of, the internet. Like, so am I going to have like 17 singles? Am I going to have an EP and a couple singles? it could be anything. And I am
Right.
actually, I've recently consulted with some people that have been doing it, and I'm taking a bigger step in management for myself just so I can like digest everything that's in my brain with someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's actually really helpful, is like
Uh-huh.
knowing when to ask for help. Like I spent pretty much my entire life like, I'm going to do this by myself. I can only do this by myself, and that's how it's going to be. No. Nope. Just know when to ask for help and get it when you need it. Like and so I've literally, that's brand new. I just did that like this last week, is ask for help and like
Oh,
digesting.
wow. Thank you for sharing that. It's so timely and resonant for me. You know, I just have to say it probably is for other people too. But starting a nonprofit is new to me, and I need help. I need to talk to this person and that person, and I also my whole life have been like kind of a DIY. I can do this on my own. I don't need help. And it's really dawning on me lately that I really need that professional help from people who do these things professionally.
Right, right. And I honestly, I feel that like when you give yourself, when you invest in yourself in that way, like you're only gonna get like more back. Like I don't know.
Right.
Like, and I feel like I was fearful of like, should I make this investment in myself? Am I worth it? Am I there? Like all of these like self-doubt questions. And it's like, dude, you're struggling every day to like figure it out. Like it's hard to find that work balance. Like,
Mhm.
and you're in, especially when you're building a career like by yourself. And it sounds like you're doing something like very similar. Like it's incredibly hard. And we have to act as community members. Like even if we're doing it by ourselves, we have to bring in community members.
Man, yeah, absolutely. Great advice. So yeah, and it's interesting, mm, what you said about how the internet is changing the music industry. Of course it is, and it has been for, 30 years now. I mean, there might not be things like albums, like maybe it's just releasing, like you said, 17 singles or, and videos. It seems like everybody has to do a video along with their song these days. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, I think you just have to hit it from every angle.
Mhm.
Because there's so much kind of being flashed in our faces all the time that you have to just like, I mean, you don't have to anything, but like if you want to see some sort of progress or some sort of like catch, um, you kind of have to put it out there for many different people to find it. Because especially for me, I feel like I'm kind of niche. Like I'm not a pop star. I'm not like,
No,
like
no,
so.
you're soulful. You're.
Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to do is find people that I'm connecting with and help them like find connection with someone else, because that's kind of what I'm doing, is like just to find connection with people and know that I'm not alone on this planet. Um
Mhm. Mhm.
and so I think the more ways you do that, the better. And the
Mhm.
more you put yourself out there, the better.
I love that. Thank you so much. I can't believe it's already 10 to.
I
What is
know,
this?
right?
I feel like I
It's
could
been
talk all
fun.
night. I did just put in the chat box, and out to the audience if they have any questions for you. Feel free to, I don't know, just raise their hand and unmute. Um, I think Zoom has a little hand icon too, if you want to use that. And if not, I'm wondering if Sarah might grace us with one more song.
Oh, I could totally do that, but I'm open to questions too. I like answering
Okay.
questions.
Um, all right.
I have
No
a
one, no one's, oh, somebody has a question. Hi, Tina.
Hi, Sarah, really enjoying your music. It's lovely. And I'm wondering, what's your process? Do you do you sit and write? Do you kind of craft these songs almost like we would as a poem, or 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 does the music come first? I'm just kind of curious how you start with your work.
Hmm. I think it's always different, but most consistently I would say that the guitar or the instrumental part will come first.
Mhm.
Um but also sometimes it happens together. Like sometimes I'll like be like sitting on these couple chords and then I'm like having ideas, and I'm like I said, I'm a Cancer. I'm incredibly emotional and I need a process to process all of these things. So, yeah, like sometimes I'll be playing something and then I'm like, and then like like idea or like some words will come to my head and then I'll be like, and then a chord will come to my head at the same time. It's like, oh well, I can't stay here, I have to move over here now because we're somewhere different now. So um yeah, I mean, I really have to be in a place of creative energy to even go there, and luckily like during COVID I was, because I don't know what I would have done had I not been. I probably would have gone absolutely crazy. Um but yeah, I think that some, and also like, so I'll record some music and then I'll record like a vocal, like I don't know if you heard in my music, but sometimes I'm kind of singing like bird song, like not actual language, it's just sounds.
Mhm.
I'll do that and then I will listen back to it and then I will hear words.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that happens sometimes. I just kind of go with what needs to come through as it comes through, and it's definitely a meditation and healing experience for me. So I never know what it's gonna look like.
Hmm. Well, it comes out looking really, really gorgeous. And like you go through chord changes and key shifts. And I mean, it's very, I don't know, tactile and kinetic and kinetic. Yeah. It feels like it's being created almost in the moment. And that sounds like your process.
Well, it is also being created in the moment. Like I always like forget what I'm doing on the spot, and so what you see is like literally just like what? I'm not incredibly performative. I'm not like, I can't put on a face truly.
And that's part of the beauty of it. I think it's the spontaneity, And well, you mentioned you did have a little jazz vocal training, even though you're self-taught on the guitar. And so, I mean, were you taught a lot about I don't know, jazz chord progressions, and I don't know, like, do you
Um,
come up with things on your own, or do you use more like, do you have models or blueprints for who you listen to and
um,
try to emulate?
well, yes, I have a lot of musicians who I love. Ani DeFranco is one of my longest.
I hear a lot of her in your stuff.
I
Yeah.
love Ani DeFranco. She
Mhm.
is, whew, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about her all day, but I love her. She's a poet. She
Mhm.
does things differently and unique, and I definitely took a lot from that. Um, I love like Bobby McFerrin and Esperanza Spalding, and Hiatus Coyote is big for me right now. And I also listen to a lot of instrumental music. Like, and so and with instrumental music, it's very live and present, and like you can have different changes wherever it be. And so I feel like I kind of, my ear went, it doesn't have too many bounds, if that makes sense. Like I can,
Mhm.
because and so the biggest reason I left music school is because I felt like they were trying to put bounds and rules on everything. And I left. I was like, I'm losing the magic here, because this is, I'm making magic. Like I feel like I want to keep making magic and I don't want to like know everything. And so basically I came back to New Paltz and I had a lot of friends in that program, like in the music program. And it's interesting to hear how they like relate to, writing songs and chord progressions, because it's different than mine.
Mhm.
And even sometimes like my friends will be like, what you're playing doesn't make sense, and I'm like, what sense? Like Like, well, it's just sounds. It's what came through me. That's all that it is. Like,
Mhm.
and I feel like they often they have bounds around what is music,
Right, right.
and so that's why I moved away from it. But I did have a vocal coach at Hofstra. I went to Hofstra on Long Island.
Okay.
Holly Ross, who actually passed away a couple of years ago to cancer, which is devastating. Because when I sing jazz music, she is going through me as much as I am. And so basically she didn't teach me to, like, yes, we did like music and notation and all of that, but her focus was mostly on making me confident as a vocalist and also as a woman in the jazz industry. Um, she had gone through it, I think, in a much harder time where like women were like, just they're up there, they do their thing, and the guys are really behind there doing all of the music stuff, you know. And so she was really trying to like encourage me to speak up and like carry myself in a specific way that would, you know, you know, uh, be prideful for women in the jazz industry. And her voice is incredible, and she taught me basically all of the classics that I know. Like every time I hear any song that she's taught me, I hear her voice, and that's really special to me, honestly, like to have a teacher. And you know, I only had her for 2 years, and she made a huge impact on my life. So like, you know, a good teacher,
Yeah, that's what they
they'll
can
stick
do.
with you forever.
That's what they can do. And that's what we're hoping to do at Aim Higher, is get a great mentoring program going there for artists of all discipline, women artists of all disciplines. And Sarah has agreed and to be a coach. So I'm thrilled that we made this connection, and I see a few of the Aim Higher people clapping in the background. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know how I missed this question, only maybe because we did a similar Murmuration like a couple back where we talked about like how the music industry is total boys club. But yeah, like for the jazz, like for the jazz subgenre of the music industry, I feel like that could be even more the case, because really women have made a ton of inroads in the popular and rock genres, subgenres, right? But in jazz, like I could name, like personally, and I'm not like really tuned into it, but I feel like I could name on two hands maybe, you know, that many women who I know of in jazz, right?
But you could name like a bunch of guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, I confession, I went to music school too, but classical, yeah. And I felt the same thing with the bounds and the failed out of, I think, notation or something, but
Yes, it was not my forte. Not my forte.
definitely not. Any other questions out there? Any musicians who want to talk music better than I can? All right. Well, I think we have just enough time then for Sarah to sing another song.
Oh, snap. All right.
Please, one more, encore, encore.
Encore. I didn't even think that far. What should I play?
Well,
Did I play It May Burn for you guys?
no, you didn't.
I didn't. Or did I?
You did.
I
You
don't
did
even.
not. You did not. I remember you played Simplicity,
Oh.
Grace, and you played, what was the first one? It was very familiar.
Bring It Around.
Oh, that's right. So I don't remember.
All right. Well, this is It May Burn. This is the thing that I want to record ASAP to get out so that my sound can be out on the.
Do you want to tell us a little about it, or just play?
I could talk a little bit about it. Can I? It's called It May Burn because I feel like everything comes round to the fire, and this is just my ode to that. It's kind of just a chant and feeling, I guess. But
Great.
this is It May Burn. this ocean's deep. This well I keep, it comforts me, yet sways me. Stays where you hide, emotion inside brings it round to a faulty light, yeah. Our only source of light, around the flame, fighting for our lives. Emotion I think we know all too well. Lord of fire brings us in. Don't get too close, it may burn. The lions of the day, that a day, lions and no, I won't go, you know I can't. This ocean is deep. No, I swear I can't. It comforts me, yet sways me. The stakes way up high, emotion inside brings it round to a faulty light. Fire something like that. No, round the flame, fighting for our lives. Emotion I think we know all too well. Lord of fire brings us in. Don't get too close, it may burn.